What's going on, guys? My name is Billy. Welcome back to Comic Source, and today we're going to be talking about the Falcon and Winter Soldier finale. And I wanted to quickly take the time to apologize for missing last week. There was procrastination in combination with some real-life things that happened. But moving on, I wanted to just point out a couple things that happened in the last episode before we talk about the finale. I love that opening fight between John, Sam, and Bucky, especially the end with Sam helplessly wiping the blood off of Cap's shield. And then, of course, we get the possible setup for Sergeant Torres being Falcon in the future. And I was also very happy about that Zemo-Bucky exchange where Bucky is finally not the killer. But of course Zemo, along with everybody else, seems to be going to the Raft, which of course you remember from Civil War is run by Thunderbolt Ross. You guys know where I'm going with this. I'll go into it a little bit more later. And then of course we have that beautiful exchange between Sam and Isaiah. And Isaiah's origin, or story if you will, is directly parallel to Steve's. They were both tested on by something that they don't fully understand. Their friends were prisoners of war. They busted out illegally and brought them boys back home. But of course, in comparison, what did they get for it? And that's the whole point of that conversation. And I love that at the end of the episode, Bucky didn't hesitate this time to say that he's having the nightmares. And this is the next step into him accepting that he is the Winter Soldier and that part of him is never going to leave. But you could definitely notice in that episode that there was a lot of COVID affected situations. Just like a lot of the stuff that they wanted to include in this show clearly, but they weren't able to because of reshoots and all of that. Now, in the finale, I feel like there's a lot of jumbled storylines that are kind of crashing to the finish line here, but I heard someone make a very good point, that this episode's main focus is Sam becoming Captain America. And everybody's reaction to him becoming Captain America. And that part they nailed. And of course they waste zero time into letting us know that Sam is Captain America because he says it himself. And while some people aren't really liking it, I'm a huge fan of this new Captain America suit. It's very comic accurate. And of course Carly calls Bucky on the phone. And it's clear that she doesn't know who she's talking to because she says that basically he's never fought for something that's bigger than him in his life. When quite literally he's only fought for things that are bigger than him. You know, World War II, being a Hydra drone, which literally anything that he does while being a mindless drone is bigger than himself, as well as, the Infinity War. I don't know, there's just a lot of points that Carly makes in this episode and a lot of decisions that she makes in this series. I didn't really like her character at all. I understand her motives to a point, but they're trying to make us sympathize with her at the end when she was just murdering people and disregarding Lamar Huskin's life, and she didn't really have any sort of redemption arc for us to cling on to before she says sorry at the end. But moving on, I'm loving how Sam is using his tech/his shield, from the boosted shield push against GSP's character Patrock, to the shelter that he made with the shield on the bridge, to the Iron Man-like gadget use that he used towards the end of the episode. And the shelter that he made put a thought in my head of him trying to use that in a fight against Wolverine, who we don't at that moment know it's Wolverine yet. And then we get a close-up shot of Sam within that shelter, and then of course the adamantium claws plunge through the shield right towards his face. I feel like that would be so cool. But that's just my imagination. And then of course during this, Bucky is freeing some of the GRC members where he finally gets validation. Somebody says, "Thank you for saving us." It's just a small moment, but it's something that Bucky needs. And then of course this takes him down to the bottom of the construction pit where the security van holding the GRC members is about to fall on top of him, and he clearly has no idea what to do. And John Walker has his sort of come to Jesus moment where he makes a decision whether to chase Carly or to save these members. And of course he saves the members. But I feel like this one moment isn't really enough for his character. I feel like we might have just needed a couple more episodes to fully flesh out the arcs of these characters. But then of course we get that moment of our new Captain America saving those GRC members with that tactic that I was talking about earlier that was kind of like what Iron Man used in Homecoming. And of course we see that the crowd sees it as well. And then we get that man that says, "Nah, that's Captain America." Kind of similar to the moment in the Miles Morales game where they said, "Nah, that's our Spider-Man." Or in the original Spider-Man from 2002 on the bridge where that New Yorker said, "If you mess with him, you mess with all of us." But now is where the reshoots and the COVID issues really take root. Because after this really, really cool moment, we have John, Bucky, and Captain America just kind of aimlessly running around through the tunnels, and it just felt awkward. And then of course we get an alright exposure to Sharon Carter being the power broker, which to a T we did predict already, and I do understand why she would become the power broker, but it just felt like a weird reveal. I do, however, love the moment where Carly tells him to stay down, and he says no, which clearly echoes all of these moments.
I can do this all day. 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 Yeah, I know.
And then we get a little bit of a rushed conclusion with Carly dying awkwardly from Sharon Carter. However, after all of this, Sam gives a fantastic speech echoing all of the hypocrisies that are taking place in the MCU, but in real life as well. They're just funneling real issues through the light of the MCU. And I feel like with what he said, that being I'm a black man carrying the stars and stripes, I feel like this angle needed to be taken. And then of course the rest of the Flag Smashers are going to be taken to the raft, but Zemo's butler is just an absolute savage. And with that and the shot of Zemo in the raft, I feel like the Thunderbolts have to be coming, right? I don't want to get my hopes up just like what happened with WandaVision, but I feel like this is definitely the direction that they would want to be going. And then of course we get the scene of John Walker becoming US agent, and I love his suit a lot. You know, black and red is always just a great combination of colors, but it's just perfectly comic accurate, just like Falcon, just like our new Captain America's suit. But I also find it odd that nobody is really paying attention to him throughout him helping them fight Carly, as well as now, because he literally murdered somebody like 2 days ago. And then of course we get the conclusion on Mr. Nakajima's character, and I feel like I cared a lot about that at the beginning, but there was just a huge disconnect between the beginning and the end of it, so it didn't really hit as hard, but I did love the acceptance from Bucky of him saying that he is the Winter Soldier, which leads to him giving the list of amends to his therapist, crossed out. Of course, he's completed the list, and I just love that for his character. And then we get one of my favorite moments of the episode, where Sam takes Isaiah Bradley to see his statue that he's built in the Museum of Captain America. This is such a beautiful moment with impressive acting from Cara Lumby. And I'm just so happy that Marvel introduced this character to me and the rest of the world that didn't know about him yet and cemented him into the MCU. And then we get a fun little party just to wrap up the series, and Bucky finally looks happy. This is something that he needed. And this is the moment that he needed. He didn't necessarily find total peace, but he did find happiness. And of course, as we all predicted at the beginning of the series, him and Sam are now friends, which I love that. I can't wait to see what's going to be happening later with Captain America 4. And then of course we get the post-credit scene with Agent Carter, you know, the power broker now, getting her job back with maybe S.H.I.E.L.D., because it said that she was going to be getting her old position, but from my understanding, S.H.I.E.L.D. is disbanded, so I'm not exactly sure what she's going to be doing. We just know that she's going to have government ties. And I feel like I understand why she became the power broker. You know, her aunt created the biggest and most powerful intelligence agency in the world. She was a decorated agent for that agency. And then said agency, as well as the entire US government, put her at the top of their most wanted list. That was me. I probably would have lost it too. I just don't love the inconsistent motives she has, and I can't help but feel like she had so much more to offer to the series, but of course COVID probably ruined that as well. But we'll never really know. But to recap as a whole, I really love this series, just maybe it didn't stick the landing just like WandaVision, and I'm excited to see what comes in the future of Zemo, especially from hopefully a Thunderbolts line coming. I'm curious to see where they go with US Agent, as well as Valentina Allegra LaFontaine, who I love all of the possibilities that they could be going with her character, but in the show didn't really do anything for me. She was probably another character that was affected by COVID, probably had a little bit more to offer. And of course, Captain America 4 is confirmed starring Anthony Mackie and written by Malcolm Spellman, who did lead Falcon and Winter Soldier. And I'm very excited to where they could be going for that. But unfortunately, the series is over, and now we have to wait another month for Loki. So these little episodic reviews are just going to have to be put on hold until then. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments down below about this finale and the series as a whole. You can subscribe if you enjoyed. Peace.